All right, finally, twisting. This first part of the twisting tutorial is going to be conceptual, and then I will have a practical part where we go over drills and stuff that can be used to help you take what you learned from this and apply it to actually teaching yourself twisting or enhancing your twisting. The first thing we have to understand is how twisting works. There are 3 different ways of creating twist in the human body. We will go over them real quick. The first one is cat twisting. It's called that because if you've ever seen a cat falling, they kind of do this thing with their body where they hula hoop themselves around. If you've ever done a swivel hips on trampoline, that's cat twisting. It's basically using one half of your body to resist the other half so you can create torque in the air, right? Because that is the problem of twisting, is how do we create twist in the air. Cat twisting works by using, so let's say we start in this swivel hips position like this. We're sitting on the trampoline. We use a shape change where we straighten out our body, and in doing so, we torque our lower body against our upper body, or vice versa, while this part remains stationary. And that allows us to turn our lower body and then catch up our upper body so that we can land back on the trampoline like that. It only works for about half a twist because you can't constantly use one part of your body to resist the other. It just doesn't work like that. Eventually this part's going to catch up, right? So it only works for about half a twist. Cat twisting really only works for swivel hips or a front half or a back half if you really wanted to. So it's not the most useful way of creating twist, but it does have its place. Contact twisting is twisting that starts on the ground. You're basically using the ground to create torque so that when you leave it, your body has rotational momentum, right? And any rotational momentum started from the ground will usually be preserved, minus air resistance and friction and stuff like that, will usually be preserved until landing, right? So any twist created from the ground, so if you're standing here on the ground, and you create some twist with your feet, when you go up into the air, you will have that same amount of twist, and then when you land again, you will have exactly the same amount of twist when you land. Right, now this creates an obvious problem because landing while twisting is not ideal for our knees, ankles, things like that. We don't want to be landing with a ton of twist. It's just not a great way to land. Unless, of course, you are going to immediately proceed into another twist, right? In which case it might be useful to have a little bit of twisting momentum as you land. If you're planning on stopping, though, it's not ideal to have a lot of contact twist. The last method of twisting, and the most important thing, this is pretty much how twisting works. You may not realize you're doing this, but if you are twisting quickly, you are using tilt twist. Now, the way tilt twist works is because of a physics concept called the conservation of angular momentum. Basically, let's imagine that I start flipping with my arms up like this. I start a flip backwards with my arms up like this, right? Both sides, let's imagine my body's split into 2 halves, this way, okay? Both sides have a certain amount of rotation backwards. They have a rotational momentum, right? And so what will happen is, if I were to take this arm and I were to put it down here, this side of my body is now shorter than this side of my body. Okay? So, in order to conserve angular momentum, when the distance becomes shorter, the velocity must increase. Okay? So, this side of my body will now start flipping faster. And so imagine if you're like this, standing this way. This side of your body is flipping faster backwards than this side. What does your body start to do? This shoulder will drop, this shoulder will rise, and your body begins to twist. That is how tilt twisting works. That is how most twisting works. If you jump up and do this, you're doing tilt twisting. You just may not realize that that's exactly what you're doing. You're creating a difference in size on one side of your body versus the other. Even if you're just doing this, you're still creating tilt twist. It's not as much as doing this, right? But it's still a tilt twist. So pretty much no matter what you're doing when you're twisting, you're doing a tilt twist. So the question of twisting is, how can we maximize tilt twist and minimize our need to use contact twist? Contact twist has usefulness, and you'll probably use it, especially as you get to higher and higher twists, or if you want to connect twists. But the question is, how can we maximize tilt and minimize the need for contact, right? And that is what we are going to talk about. So the way to maximize tilt is to maximize the shape change of one side of your body versus the other. How can we maximally change one side of your body to be shorter while the other side remains longer, right? And the best way to do that is to start with your arms up and to drop one down, or vice versa. Start with your arms down and raise one up, right? So if we think about, the easiest way to really think about tilt twisting is a fold down, right? Let's imagine a back tuck fold down, right? You have absolutely no contact twist, right? You may use a little bit of cat twist, but most of what's going to happen, what do you see people do when they do a fold down? Okay, why do they do that? They may not realize that's why they're doing it, but they do it for tilt twist, right? What they're doing is they are lengthening one side of the body, maximizing their shape change on that side, and leaving this side the same. Okay, so this side is then going to flip slower, meaning this side will start to flip relatively faster than this side, causing you to spin around, right? So if you're talking about trying to do a full with maximum shape change, this is what you are going to do. Okay, if we're doing a back full, we are going to start with our body flipping in an arms up position. That is a horrible stick figure, but ignore that. Okay, we're going to start flipping in an arms up position. Okay, the next thing we are going to do is about halfway through the flip. I mean, you can do it whenever you want, but ideally we're twisting later in our flip. You are going to drop one side of your body. You're going to drop one of your arms down to your side. Okay? What we've done is we've shortened the distance on that side. Okay? In doing so, you are creating a twist this way. Okay? Dropping your left arm while flipping backwards will cause you to twist left. Okay? And then what you're going to do is once you've completed, so you drop your arm, once you have completed a half twist and your arm is now on this side again, right? So my left side is already flipping faster than my right side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my right arm at half a twist, which will get my right side twisting as well. Now both sides of my body are twisting quickly, okay? So what that does is it locks me into a faster twist because I've accelerated one side of my body to get it twisting and then the other side again, which causes both sides of my body to rotate, right? That is what you see people do when they lock in like this and they straighten out their body, is they're locking in to the tilt twist, causing both sides of their body to twist really quickly, right? So that is the way you can maximize shape change. Now, you don't have to do it with straight arms. Obviously, straight arms would be the biggest shape change. But the difference between doing it with straight arms and doing it with your elbows is so negligible that it's better to do it with bent arms as you go around, because you just don't have enough time to do this when you're on the ground. On trampoline, it's a whole different story. That's why you see trampoline twisters twist with their arms like that, because they can. They have the time and they can use it to maximize their shape change and maximize their tilt twist, right? We as free runners don't usually have a lot of air time, so it's better for us to get the tilt twist done faster so that we can lock in sooner, right? That way we can open up quicker for the landing, right? So the way you'll do it is the exact same concept starting here, but you'll drop an elbow and a shoulder instead of dropping a hand, and then you'll do the same thing on the other side. And as you can see, if we imagine what that looks like, that looks almost exactly like what people do when they twist, doesn't it? If you watch people that twist, they do almost that exact same motion. They may not realize that that's what they're doing, but if you understand what the purpose of the arms is, you can maximize how fast you're twisting, right? So that's pretty much what tilt twisting is covered, and the reason we use our arms and drop one shoulder versus the other, right? That's pretty much that covered. There's a couple little things also that help your twisting that we'll need to talk about. One is contact, right? So as I said earlier, if you're trying to connect twists, it might be helpful to land with a little bit of rotation. The thing about tilt twists is that once you open your arms back up, your body stops twisting because it started twisting due to the shape change. So when you cancel that shape change out, it stops. That's why you see gymnasts do their shape change and then do this as they land. Okay? It accomplishes two things. One, it stops the tilt, and two, it makes your body a lot wider, which, as we know, a wider object is going to spin slower. So it helps you eliminate all that twist you added in the air so that you can get ready to land square. Right? With contact twisting, that twist, any twist you start off the ground will not be eliminated as you land. So if I start a twist off the ground like this, and then I wrap in, and then I open again as I start to land, I will still be going the same speed as when I started when I do this. So I will still have a little bit of twist. Now that can be useful if I'm planning on doing a pop full out of it, right? But if I'm planning on stopping, my knees would probably like me a lot better if I landed without twisting. So when and how you apply contact twist is important. As you get to higher and higher amounts of twist, it can be helpful to start with a little bit of this and then use a lot of this, right? Because a little bit of contact can help with tilt. Using a tiny bit of contact twist and a lot of tilt gives you a faster twist than just using tilt with very little rotation as you land on the ground. So the ideal way of twisting would probably be a little bit of this, a lot of this, right? So especially if you're going to continue twisting afterwards and land into a pop full or a pop double full or whatever you're going to do, it can be helpful to do that. The other thing we know is that a thinner shape will twist faster. So the thinner and longer you can get once you lock in your twist, the faster you're going to spin, right? So if you're spinning with knees tucked, you're going to spin slower. You're going to flip faster, but you're going to spin slower, right? If your legs are straight, you are going to flip slower, obviously, but you are going to twist faster. If your arms are like this, you are going to spin slower than if your arms are like this. This difference is really negligible, though. As long as your arms are pretty in, you're going to twist fast, right? This difference is not going to make a huge difference to you. The bigger difference would be this, like something like this, or something with your arms out here, right? That's going to spin a lot slower than having arms in close, right? And the worst stuff comes from your legs, right? Super crossed legs, a little bit of leg cross isn't going to kill you, but super crossed legs will make you twist slower, right? A non-tight core will make you twist slower. If the top half of your body is twisting faster than the bottom half, you're going to have problems. If the lower half is twisting faster than the top half, you're going to have problems. That's when you get those like clunky looking twists that people look like they're troubling around. Trouble twists are basically that. It's when people do a full, they haven't really decided that they're going to double full, they haven't committed to locking in the tilt, so they do a full and then they turn their feet a little more so their feet get ahead of their chest and then they finish it if they think they can. That's why it looks so weird. It doesn't look like actual twisting because they never get locked into a tilt twist. One other thing to remember is that this arm drop for tilt twisting needs to occur perpendicular to the axis of rotation. So if you're flipping backwards, you would drop your arm sideways. If you're flipping forward, you would drop your arm sideways. This becomes a little more complicated when you do things like side twisting, because to tell you the truth, side twisting is pretty much just front twisting. You will have a really hard time doing a pure side flip and twisting. Because the only way for you to tilt from there would be if I'm flipping on this axis, my arm drop or lift has to be on this axis. So as you were coming out, you would have to drive this elbow backwards, right? If I was flipping to my right, I'd have to drive this elbow backwards and this elbow forward, right? So I'd have to create this action, which is a little more complicated. So that's important to remember. It's pretty simple for front and back twisting. Side twisting is just a weird beast anyway. But that's good to remember. Side twisting also involves a little bit more contact than tilt. You'll see a lot of people with really good side fulls. They will take off turning slightly, as if they were going to do like a side quarter, and then they add the twist, which pretty much just turns it into a front twist or a back twist. But yeah, that's important to remember as well. So that's pretty much it in terms of concepts of twisting, right? So we have the three different types of twisting. This is mainly where it all comes from. Maximizing this makes you twist faster. right? A little bit of this can be helpful. Too much can be a little bit dangerous for our joints, right? But combined, these are going to give you the ultimate twist. There's a little bit of contact and a lot of tilt, right? We know how to do tilt twist for back twisting. And in the practical video, we'll go over more what you should do with your arms for front and back twisting, right? It's mostly just concepts today. And we also discussed how opening up slows you down, getting in smaller speeds you up, right? Those are all the most important concepts of twisting. So stay tuned for part 2. I'll video a bunch of drills and stuff that you can do to practice maximizing your tilt twist and becoming aware of where you are. This should help you learn twisting a lot faster, or help get your twisting to the level you want it to be at. Because if you're not twisting fast, you're not maximizing these, and you are not getting in the right shape. Right? That's pretty much how it is, because everyone has the capability of twisting at the same speed. So, yeah, that's conceptual twisting. See if you can apply that to your training even before I come out with the practical video. Let me know if that helps you understand what's happening a lot more, and I will see you guys in part 2.